Hello and welcome back to another Torchwood Big Finish audio drama review. In today's review we're going to be taking a look at the September 2023 release, which is of course entitled Dog Hop, as written by Stuart Pringle and Lauren Mooney. This release does of course feature Tom Price as the one and only Sgt Andy Davison, of course Torchwood's favourite policeman, and is available to order now from the Big Finish website on both physical CD and digital download. Something to note is it can also be purchased as part of a bundle alongside the most recent Torchwood main range releases in order to save a little bit of money. Now what I'm loving with the Torchwood main range at the minute is that Big Finish have been incredibly mysterious when it comes to revealing the story details and the cover art. We had Sigil last month and then we have Dog Hop, both of which the details were in fact released either on the day of release or very close to. In fact Dog Hop was announced only a few weeks ago, and since then I knew that I wanted to listen to this story because Sean Longmore has done a superb job on the cover art. As you can see throughout this review, we have Sgt Andy Davison surrounded by many different breeds of dog, including the beautiful Phoebe there on the front as well, fluffy and white and adorable looking, which is of course Tom Price's very own dog who he brought to studio on the day of filming, which is absolutely adorable. So before we get into the story details themselves, I would also just like to say that this release does of course contain adult material which may not be suitable for younger Big Finish listeners. So this is very much one of those Torchwood stories where the cover art absolutely sealed the deal for me. I knew that I was going to be listening to this one as soon as it was announced because it looks so unique and exciting. Of course we have some familiar names on the production team for this one. Blair Mowat on the music, James Goss as producer, script editor as well, with a brand new name coming on board being Bethany Weimers. She's previously directed, in fact, the Seventh Doctor Adventures AWOL, I do believe Naomi Cross and Harry Sullivan's kind of return box set alongside Sylvester McCoy, so it is lovely to see a brand new name as a part of the Torchwood main range. So let's welcome Bethany, and hopefully we'll see more from her in the future. Well, Big Finish has officially gone barking mad with the latest instalment of the Torchwood monthly range, or maybe I should say Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle have. Torchwood audio fan favourite Sgt Andy Davison is back for yet another investigation, but this time things feel a little more down to earth, which is one of the big credits that I will give this story from the off. This release sees Andy Davison in a really human setting, dealing with petty shoplifting crimes and filling in admin at the local police station, which is something we don't really see him do too often. In Aliens and Gods Among Us within the Torchwood continuation series, there is normally some grander connection to the overall plot or alien creatures showing up and invading. This narrative feels very authentically human. It's just nice seeing Andy do normal things and getting that reminder that he is actually a normal policeman as well as being a somewhat member of Torchwood. It's enjoyable hearing Tom Price perform as Andy alongside everyday people who are completely unaware of his Torchwood dealings. But after all, this episode is set in Cardiff, and many unusual things do of course happen in the wonderful world of Cardiff. So when Andy crashes through a fence in pursuit of a suspect who has been shoplifting, he comes across the Red Lion pub. Here he meets the locals, being Nia, a barmaid, Ken, Mary and Dick. And from here on blossoms a really lovely local community. This is basically their world, the Red Lion, and that is pretty much it. However, things are about to get a little bit unusual. Zadia Campbell-Davies is so lovely as Nia. She becomes rather well acquainted with Andy throughout this story. She's kind, open-minded, but also appears to want a little bit more from life. I don't think it will be a spoiler to say that Andy takes a little bit of a shine to her within this story, and we see a little bit of a dynamic starting to blossom. So when she feels comfortable, Nia decides to tell Andy something which has been on her mind for a while. She thinks the dogs of the local pub are dog hopping. People are going missing in the surrounding area, but she thinks that they are trapped within the local dog community. Because after all, it's Cardiff, and that apparently is normal. I can't lie, I needed to listen to this story twice just to get my head around it. Not because the story itself is complex, but because the concept is so bizarre yet wonderful. I love how Stuart Pringle and Lauren Mooney have taken something from their conversations in day-to-day life when they've been chatting just for fun, especially when at the local bar, and then they've adapted it into a Torchwood adventure. It adds an element of realism to what is just a bizarre story. This is another one of those episodes which once more oozes with personality personality and enthusiasm. I'm recognising continuously with this writing duo that it is clear that they love their job, and this story brought a smile to my face on multiple occasions. Which at the end of the day, that's what storytelling is all about. And at this point within the review, I'd also just like to shout out Tom Price's dog Phoebe. She features on the cover art, she's credited in the cast, and she is one hell of an actor. Frankly, Big Finish are lucky to have her involved, and I imagine after the release of this story, she will be booked out for many blockbusters to come. So yes, more episodes of Phoebe, please, Big Finish, that'll be brilliant. Heck, give her her own spin-off. Without a doubt, the whole dog theme is one of the big selling points of this story. If you have a dog in your life personally, I think this episode hits a note that other stories naturally don't. It's one of those episodes which captures the magic and the company of having a canine friend, whilst also simultaneously presenting a delightfully Torchwood darker undertone. Are humans really trapped in dogs' bodies? Who knows? You'll need to listen to this episode to find out. I don't want to say too much else about this narrative because I don't want to reveal too much, but what I will say, however, is that it continues to place people at the heart of the story. The Torchwood main range isn't all about grand alien invasions, but smaller scale stories that pack a punch. There are lots of potentially alien stuff that happens within this episode, but it kind of forms an undercurrent within the narrative. I think if anything, it tells more than it actually shows, which may not be for everyone. The ending of this story is a little bit unusual. I think this also prompted me to actually listen to this story for a second time, as it continues to show that there is much more to this episode than initially meets the eye. I do wish that the narrative explored the repercussions a little bit more, as it raises lots of questions within my mind, and I can't decide personally if I found this as a good thing and that I was intrigued and wanted to find out more, or maybe the way that the episode ended didn't pack the big satisfying conclusion that I wanted from this story. It maybe left me wanting more, so as a result I felt a bit underwhelmed. Weirdly enough, I feel like this story is almost the start of something, the start of potentially a much bigger adventure that maybe this release doesn't have enough room to tell, but equally I wouldn't have wanted the concepts within this story to be shrunk down in order to fit in a more satisfying conclusion, so maybe the whole plot of this story is actually maybe too big for the 1 hour format, even though the concept to start with seems considerably simple. I think maybe Stuart Pringle and Lauren Mooney just ran out of time to actually tell that story in detail, but what we did get I really enjoyed, and as I say, it left me wanting more, which I think can be interpreted in both a positive and a negative sense. One of the things that this story absolutely nails is that whole idea of locality and small communities and the little tensions that can be created. So Gareth Armstrong as Ken, Lisa Berry as Mary, we have Sandra as portrayed by Leah Marks, and Howard Ward as Dick. All of these characters felt so well developed, they felt real, I felt like we got to know a little bit about their backstories, they all leapt off the page, and you just felt for this brief 1 hour interlude of life, you felt like you were a part of their story and a part of their lifestyle, which ultimately repeats on a daily basis. But I also love the way that this story presents those tensions that can be created within these local communities, such as having a pub like the Red Lion being right next to a yoga place, which is run by Sandra, and she clearly does not like the pub or the community that it brings together, and it just feels very authentic and realistic to real life. He says that, having grown up in a village where everyone's constantly at each other's throats all the time. Either way, what I do think Dog Hop brings to the Torchwood main range is that continued bold creativity. I love being able to click play and be taken on an adventure that is completely different to the one in the previous month. There is something so satisfyingly bite-sized about the Torchwood main range, which makes listening to them frankly addictive each and every month. And dare I say it, sometimes I do get rather bored of listening to Doctor Who and the Doctor coming in and saving the universe once again. The Torchwood main range is a bit different. It's more experimental, more refreshing. Each story is unique, but also no one is safe. You don't know how the episodes are going to end, and ultimately I just think there is more creativity and passion there to tell more interesting stories. So there we have it, that is my review of the September 2023 release from the Torchwood main range, being the lovely Dog Hop as written by Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle. Another brilliant release within the range, one of which I thoroughly enjoyed for its creativity as well as theme around dogs. It really hit a sort of personal note for me. I can't wait to see both what this range does next, but also this writing duo, as I love everything that they've contributed to Big Finish so far, and who knows what the next month of Torchwood will bring, as we don't have any story details revealed as of yet at the current time of recording. So thank you very much for watching this review. I hope you have enjoyed it. Do of course stay tuned on The Host Productions for regular Doctor Who content, as well as running commentary and reaction to the latest Big Finish audio drama releases. Have a nice day, and I shall see you all next time.